What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Sun Belt Syndicate, a bowl edition, TJ. We are getting to the close of college football season. A little sad, but a little exciting at the same time, right?
Yeah, it's one of those times where you're like, oh man, it's coming to an end, but also, like you said, exciting times, and also super excited for a lot of these teams that are going to the bowl game from our conference and from all over. So it's a good time of year.
Yeah, absolutely is. We got a surprise one in. We won't be talking about Georgia Southern App State this week. We are working on something special for that one just because it is such a big rivalry. It is an interconference matchup in the bowl games, which you pretty much just don't see at all anymore. So that one's going to have some juice. We are trying to do something fun with that one. That one's actually still like, 2 weeks away, TJ, I think?
Yeah, we've got a ways away for that. I think it's right before or right at the New Year's mark is what I'm understanding.
I think it's the 29th. I think
29th,
it's a Monday.
so right before. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we got some time on that one. With you from the first kick to the last pitch. The quick shout out to our sponsors, Don't Sleep Energy. Be sure to check them out. Look, there's lots of people who need some caffeine, some pick-me-ups in their life. This would be a cool little gift for people. I'm just saying, it's got a great name. It's self-explanatory. It works. Like I said, I did drink some on the way home from the Sun Belt Championship game. It kept me awake till 4 a.m. to make my drive a little easier. So I can swear by the product. I'm not just saying it. I actually have done it. And we gave some away in front of the stadium there for championship in the Sun Belt. So that was pretty cool. And then Phenom Elite, man, they're signing some big athletes. Some 5-star recruits have signed on to Phenom Elite via one of their athletes. So as those guys continue to grow, you can find them at your local Dick's Sporting Goods and also online, obviously. But have you finished Christmas shopping, TJ? Are you yet to start? Where are you at in that?
No, hadn't finished it yet. Still got a couple things I need to get checked off the list. We're actually not going to be in town, so we're doing a little early Christmas here, and then flying out to California to go see my little brother for Christmas. So, but you got to keep that on the hush because my son doesn't know that Santa's bringing him a flight to California yet. So,
okay, that's going to be cool, man. How quickly are you taking off to go out that way?
Leaving the 23rd, coming back on the 29th.
Okay, so you're going to have a nice little time out there.
Yeah, we're going to spend a couple of days, go to Universal, go to the zoo. We're going to go do a bunch of different things, man. So pretty much every day except Christmas Day, we've got something planned.
Not smart too, because Christmas Day they want to enjoy the certain thing.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So
yeah. Sam Talks Sports jumping on. Thanks, Sam. He says, oh yeah, thanks for reminding me to do my shopping. And while Sam's on here, we are doing the preview for the 4 bowl games only. The CFP game, we are going to be partnering with Sam Talks Sports on Wednesday. We're going to be talking about all of the college football playoff games coming up, but we get to highlight ours, right? So TJ and I are going to help break down Oregon versus James Madison. So that one is going to be a little bit different. And that'll be on our social channels as well as Sam Talks Sports. So be sure to check that one out. He's done a great job finding people quite literally around the country to talk about football. I've jumped on a couple of his shows for those of you who have seen that. He does a great job kind of putting it all together. So if you guys want to check out that one, James Madison fans are obviously going to be taking in as much as they can. So hopefully they'll jump on and check that one out. We're going to be giving our shine for the Sun Belt Conference. I know I listened to Rage and Review earlier today, the Troy boys and the Monarchists. So I've been trying to inhale as much as I can of Sun Belt coverage to help bring us and you guys the rest of what other people have brought us up to speed on, and we hope to do that for you guys here tonight before the game start tomorrow night, TJ. Tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Eastern time.
Getting kicked off, man. It's right around the corner, dude.
Yes, it is. And as always, right around the corner is Mr. Ben James saying what's up and Wolves up, as we know that they are going to be playing a bowl game this week as well. So as mentioned, we have 4 bowl games coming up. One last little tangent. TJ, how much do you venture onto I-40 for the work you're doing right now? Like
I try to avoid it at all costs. Yeah, I try to avoid it in any way. I think I've been on I-40 in the last year and a half, maybe 4 times.
Smart man. Well, I cannot avoid it. I have to take it every day to work. For those of you that are geographically challenged, I-40 is one of the most, one of the biggest highways, interstates in the country. Literally goes from the state of California all the way to North Carolina, right? I have a small section that I'm on for about 10 minutes a day each way. Well, this weekend, I had to go a little bit further towards Raleigh, and then the next day had to go a little bit further towards Greensboro. And I've saw something I've never seen before, man, and it's becoming a little bit of a news thing. You always see cars broken down on the side of a highway, right?
Right.
And in North Carolina specifically, if you put something in the window and hang it out like a little rag or a T-shirt or something, that means you intend to come back and pick it up, right? I passed 2 cars in quick succession on Saturday that had all 4 rims and tires gone, car sitting on the ground. I went further towards Greensboro. There was 2 more. I went towards Raleigh. There was at least 1, if not 2 more. So I think I saw 5 or 6 this weekend, all missing wheels and tires sitting on the ground. I've never seen anything like it. I guess it's this new fad for thieves to work through the night and steal the rims and tires off of cars. Now, I don't even know if these were valuable rims. I would assume some of them are probably just stock options, but they're taking them.
Yeah, well, and you can get a pretty good penny for trading in tires that have good tread on them. That people that sell used tires, companies that sell used tires, they'll buy them. They'll buy them from you. And I don't know. I've never been a part of it. Never seen it. I don't know, but I do know that they sell used tires. So my assumption is that's what they're doing with them.
That makes sense, but it's like, what kind?
You're not going to get much
crew? Is it a NASCAR pit crew coming in and removing all 4 tires? Like, I just can't imagine what this looks like, right?
Well, and also too, I can imagine what you're getting paid for them, right? Because it can't be a lot. Like, I mean, if it's a really nice car, it's probably not going to get left on the interstate overnight. So my assumption is these are probably like, early 2000s, 90s Corollas or something like that. Like, what are you going to get for that? Like, are you going to get, $10, $15 a tire? What's happening? What are you doing with that? Well, it's probably a lot they can do with that money if they venture into extracurriculars. But
true. My next question for some people that I talked to about this, like, what vehicle are they using? Because there's no way they hit one, barely fill up like the back of the truck or something, take it away, come back, hit the next car. No, they're just making a beeline down, one after the other, of all these cars that are parked on the side of the highway. And I'm assuming they're doing this at night. And it's like,
they're probably scoping the scene out during the day, and then like making hey, we've got 5 cars along I-40 between here and Greensboro. Let's go get some time. That sounds insane. And it's cold.
Right? Yes. I mean, it's not the time of year. Like in the summertime, sure. But anyway, thought that was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. And it just seemed to be an epidemic this weekend because of how far I traveled. Had I not gone very far, I would have just assumed it's 2 random vehicles that had their wheels removed for whatever reason. But once I saw 5 or 6, I said, okay, this is a pattern now. There's something going on here. And very strange. Very strange. Yeah. So, and you know what? That sucks, because if you think you're going to go back and get your car towed, tow truck's going to show up and go, I can't do anything with this.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is, worst time of year.
You're thinking, like, if they got the one that they can put up into the back of the truck, but like you still need wheels for that.
Yeah,
right?
They still have to pull it, and with the wheels and turn, like, there's no forklift out there that's lifting cars up.
Nope. Well, they'll have to be now, or they're going to have to go out there and put 4 wheels on these things.
Yeah.
But God, it's ridiculous. We'll get to this a little bit more, but Ben James touching on the fact Arkansas State is in the Xbox Bowl. Okay, all the teams, or all the members of the teams, got the Xbox, the new mobile Xbox. That's a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Pretty sweet deal. Yeah. Every player, every coach. Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty sweet deal. I wish some little low-level Sunbelt Conference podcast could get some new Xbox, right, TJ?
Yeah, I would take an Xbox right now, today. My son would love it.
Yeah, I know, right? They would definitely play it more than we would, but I'll take some turns, you know? Oh, man. Sam says he avoids taking I-40 when Oklahoma's. Again, smart. Isaac saying, you guys are the best part of my day. Oh, man, cool. Thank you guys for all this has made my life. Well, I'm not sure if we'll live up to those expectations.
Yeah, that's pretty lofty, but we appreciate
it. We do appreciate it. No, absolutely we do. We actually just got our first ad sponsor on the audio version because we have enough downloads. So if you hear an ad throughout this show, you won't hear it on the live version. But if you're listening to the audio version, you may hear a roofing company in Texas who wanted to advertise with us. Yes, we have listeners down in Texas area. So if you're in the Houston, San Antonio, maybe they say they stretch from there. But anyway, you may hear that, which is kind of cool. So we could make a little change for throwing their sponsorship on here. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Kristen jumping in saying, hi, what's going on? Thanks for joining the show. Ben says, don't get me talking NASCAR. No, we won't because, like I said, we don't really know how those tires were being taken, but I would assume, some kind of quick jack to get that thing up and get those tires off is probably what they were getting into there. But hey, let's jump into this thing. Let's not waste any more time. We'll have some questions we want to cover throughout this thing as well. But here are the 4 bowl games that we do have in the Sun Belt this week. In name first here is the Salute to Veterans Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama. That was formerly the Camellia Bowl, which probably a lot more of our fans are familiar with. But a new sponsorship name here in the last year or two. I think it was already called that last year. TJ, do you remember off the top of your head by chance if that's familiar to you?
The Salute to Service Veterans Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. So it's not new. It has been around. I don't remember the teams that have been in it, but I've certainly seen it over the years.
Gotcha. Okay. Just wanted to make sure that I wasn't going crazy because I'm pretty sure that changed before this year. I think it was at least last year that they were already kind of started calling it that, but we'll see. I'll double check that after the show. Won't waste any time here unless you're doing it now, but we also have the 68 Ventures Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. We've got the Cure Bowl, also obviously one of the better location-wise bowls that we've got in this conference. And we've got one of the cooler ones that's newer here with, as Ben already mentioned, the Xbox Bowl. I'm not sure about the trophy. I saw it. I was like, kind of weird. But it
I hadn't seen
does
it.
fit.
Now I got to look it up.
Yeah, go ahead and look that up while we're talking about it because it's worth viewing because it's got the Xbox mobile thing on it, which it's not terribly hideous, but it's just kind of it doesn't scream football. It screams video games, which again is part of the bowl. So I guess that's one reason to do it. But Sam saying they got some Xbox finished 4th in console sales back for Black Friday. Oh, that's interesting. Behind PlayStation, Nintendo, and the Playground thing. Oh, yes. I think I've heard something about this Playground thing. I'm not really sure, but I think you can kind of virtually play games without having to have the physical portion of it. Well, I guess you can do that with just about everything. I'm not really sure. I'm sure you too, TJ, we've kind of moved on from the video games for the most part, right?
Yeah, my son's got a PS4. He badly wants a PS5. He only got a PS4 because my brother gave it to him last year because he upgraded to a PS5. I don't buy video games. I don't buy him video games or hadn't in the past. But he loves it. So, but yeah, to your point, I don't frequent video games as much as I used to in my early years.
Yeah, definitely not here either. I wish I could. I don't really have the time. We do this more often, right? That's why we bring that to the people, TJ.
Yeah, people are a priority.
There you go. Exactly. That's what we like to say here. All right, so we'll jump into the first of these bowls, and we're not going to be the highest level breakdown, right? But we do want to give a look at this, and it also is difficult because let's be honest, TJ, as we talked about kind of before we went live, some guys have said they're entering the transfer portal or will enter the transfer portal, but does that mean they won't play? in all likelihood, for the most part, I would say no. If they're saying they're in the portal, they're going to not play because they don't want to get injured before getting a possible look. But there might be the chance that some of them do play because they're not going to sign with the team, just yet, or sign with the school. It feels like NFL when we talk about this, right? Like we're going to sign with this different place now.
It's gotten out of control.
Yeah. So we are going to break this down the best we can for you. I'm sure there's going to be some player movement even after we do this thing because we're doing this on a Monday night. This game probably won't have much of anything to change because it's Tuesday night, but then we do have 2 on Wednesday, 1 on Thursday. So it'll be interesting to see how much kind of changes between that. But this first one, 9 Eastern, 8 Central on ESPN, pitting Troy against Jacksonville State. Now, for our fans in the Sun Belt, especially on the east side, probably don't know this, but this was a long-standing rivalry from back in the day. 24 years, though, since they last played each other. That is from the Troy Boys podcast earlier today for my listening. But this was, this is, TJ, I guess, kind of what you and I had heard about with like App State and Marshall from back in the day. We didn't really have that at our time, but it's, we all heard about it. And I guess that's kind of what this one means. I don't know, like as we sit here and currently talk about that, the older generation reminisces about that rivalry. Do you think this kind of thing could spark it up? I mean, these two teams, unlike App and Marshall, are in the same state. And now
Sure.
Jack State is now FBS just as Troy is. And the reason they hadn't played mostly for 24 years is because they were at different classifications of football. But do you like the fact that this is kind of reinvigorating a rivalry here, in a bowl game like this?
Well, yeah, and the hope is that it does, right? Like the hope is that, they start to put each other on each other's schedule and start to kind of rejuvenate this thing. And maybe this game is a catalyst that does that. I do think it'll be a really good game to watch, and I think it'll be fun to kind of see in whatever small version, right? Because like Alabama is usually Bama and Auburn, right? So like whatever
Right.
small version of rivalry that we can kind of conjure up for the state of Alabama, this should be pretty cool. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I am too. I like this for Troy specifically. I feel like this is a team that was in the East and they didn't really have a lot of strong rivalries, right, TJ? I mean, like kind of like them and App kind of went at it a little bit, but I feel like they didn't necessarily identify with a team in the East that they said like this is our team that we hate the most, right? Like
Right.
It just didn't really exist for a few years. Then they got moved back to the West where they probably belong, with some teams like Southern Miss and Louisiana. But I like this one. It's a battle for the old school bell, which Troy last won. And they've been more successful in more recent years against Jack State. But apparently they may or may not be bringing the trophy back. I guess there's no definitive word on if it will show up at this bowl game. But me as like a old school kind of guy, I want to see that type of thing come back, right? Like a trophy game, right, TJ? I mean, you still played for the old Mountain Jug when Western and App played. I mean, that means something to you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. It's one of those things where it's bragging rights for the state, right? Like we played against Western Carolina and we, for all intents and purposes, obviously we handled them pretty decently, but still you get the old Mountain Jug and it's, you hold it up and it's again, it's bragging rights. It's one of those things where you want that to be a thing that continues, right? In perpetuity.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to start us off with what you think about Troy? I mean, we saw them in the championship game, right? We saw that and we heard and we understood that their running game really wasn't a huge factor. And I think just like JMU did to Coastal and App State, they held that Troy rushing attack completely in check. So we know that they're going to pass the ball from early look and listen. Jacksonville State is the exact opposite. They are going to run the ball. But what do you think we could see from Troy's passing attack? I mean, do you favor in a bowl game like this, had a couple weeks off, now you're going to play against a team where there's, kind of a rivalry coming back into it. Do you favor a team that's going to pass the ball more or a team that's going to run the ball more?
Well, it also, like things like that kind of, for me, circumstances matter, right? And so playing in Montgomery, Alabama, it's probably not going to be 12 degrees outside, right? So throwing the ball won't really be much of an issue as it would be in Boone or, in Blacksburg, Virginia, or somewhere cold.
Right.
So for me, I think that so obviously no Goose Crowder, right? So that's going to be an issue for Troy. I do think, he has the ability to maybe stretch the field with the ball. I think I think Goose Crowder was certainly a better athlete in terms of running the football. Seems like he's got the better arm, in my opinion, or at least it appears that way, right? Gilchrist does have the better arm, so it'll be. It's kind of gonna come down to who can make the big play against who, right? So if Jacksonville, who loves to run the football, right? If Troy can kind of bend but don't break, especially down there in the red zone, and Troy can hit some of those big plays over the top in the pass game. In my opinion, it may come down to who has the ball last. Now, in saying that, Jacksonville State with their run game can do what a lot of teams do during the playoffs and bowl games, which is control the clock and control the tempo. If they can do that, they can keep Troy's offense off the field. That's a huge help for their defense, give the defense a breather, and then they can sort of mitigate a lot of that, heavy big play threat down the field sort of pass plays from Gilchrist. So it could go either way. Obviously, I'm a homebody, so I'm rooting for Troy. Want Sunbelt to always do well in these kinds of games, but it's going to come to – there's a lot of nuance to this game because both of these teams do the exact thing opposite very well, right? Like one's a great pass game, one's a great – now, that doesn't mean that Troy can't run the ball. It just the time we saw it happen wasn't a very good showing, right? So that doesn't mean that they can't find something. It's not a crease that somebody might hit. But for the way it's shaping up, Troy's passing attack might be what gets them off the ground. Again, that said, if Jacksonville can control the clock, that's a lot to be said for the outcome of this game.
Yeah, no, I agree with you here. And again, we talked about them being the exact opposites. Caden Creel is the quarterback for Jack State. He's rushed for just less than 300 yards less than he's thrown for on the season. He's thrown 8 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So he is definitely a mobile running quarterback first and foremost, and then he seems to throw after the fact. Right. We saw what Troy's defense was able to do against a pretty potent James Madison offense, right? They held them completely in check until late in that third, early in that fourth quarter in that championship game. My thing here is I favor Troy's secondary pretty well. I think that they have some ball hawks back there. They've scored 4 touchdowns defensively on the season. But if Jacksonville State can keep it on the ground and, like you said, control the tempo, control the clock of this game, it's going to force the interior of that defense to kind of step up and make more and better plays. And again, against a team like JMU, who I think everyone would agree is better than Jack State, they did just that for a long time. But as Ben is saying here, first, both teams are conference runner-up. So this isn't your run-of-the-mill, hey, these are 2 6-6 teams in a bowl game. This one's going to be pretty good, I think.
Absolutely.
But he has the same question, TJ, that quite frankly you and I kind of have, is who's going to start for Troy? So we had Goose Crowder start the season, get hurt. Gilchrist came in, did a very good job of getting Troy onto the winning side and continuing that until that ODU game where Goose made his comeback a little bit there. And then we saw Goose get knocked out of the game against James Madison. And really that seemed to be maybe the biggest turning point in that championship game because Troy and JMU were right with each other before that. So I think if Goose is healthy, says he wants to go, I think that's who the team would favor. But I don't think we've even heard anything definitive. And that really sides with Troy, I would say, is like a pregame thing, right, TJ? I mean, having a team prepare for 2 quarterbacks is a good thing for you on the opposite side, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It keeps you – well, because now you've got 2 different game plans defensively, right? Because we know Goose Crowder can run the ball. We're not looking for – if you're defensive-minded, you're not looking for Gilchrist to run as much. Now, he may have some avenues where he scrambles, some things like that happens, but it's not going to be a whole lot of design run. Now, to that end, we also didn't see a ton of design run for Goose, who was coming back from injury towards the end of the season as well. So it may be a little more of the same in that regard, because if you look at it, based on the last couple of games that we saw Goose, he wasn't the same athletically that he was pre-injury, right? Which no one is. You don't expect that. So traditionally, to your point, preparing for two quarterbacks can be hard. However, in this circumstance, Goose not being fully healthy, how mobile will he be even if he does play? So I think maybe it might be a situation where it's only one game plan because they're only going to do what they can do based on the health of Goose and or the, I guess, limited athletic ability. And I don't say that, lightly, of Kilcrease. So I don't know. To answer your question, it could kind of go both ways. They may have two game plans. It may be a little difficult. It also may be, like I said, more of the same just because, Goose is limited. Yeah.
That makes sense. So that's the question mark here in this one. I want to make sure. Oh, the one other note we had was Tay Meadows is said he's entering the transfer portal. So that could affect the Troy run game. But obviously, like we said, they haven't had the greatest run game. So I don't think it's a huge detriment. They got Lovett back there as well, who will easily tote the rock as well. So, I mean, it's not the worst thing for him if he doesn't play. I would say if you're entering the portal, I would assume you're not playing. But again, nothing definitive that I've seen on that just yet. But
to that point, by the way, just got not got an update, but reading an update on Goose Crowder's health and availability for the bowl game. Looks like Goose Crowder has been. Goose Crowder, Troy quarterback, will not play for the rest of the season due to an unspecified injury, as confirmed by the team. Had been dealing with upper body injuries throughout the season. He's previously knocked out of the game against Memphis and Louisiana Monroe due to these injuries. Recently, he suffered a shoulder injury during the game against Memphis, led him to indefinite absence from the sideline. Based on his latest injury, it is stated that he has been sidelined for the remainder of the season.
Well, I'll tell you this. When I was there, I was on Troy's sideline when that injury occurred. And coming over to the side, like pretty much walking to the pile of snow that was on James Madison Field. He was being consoled pretty good by a coach at that point. I think it looked, I can't confirm, so I'm speculating here, but I would assume it's because he was pretty emotional. I'm sure, first of all, it hurt. It sounded like, again, I didn't see the play because I was on the far end before I walked over and saw that he was still making his way off the field. But it sounds like a lineman kind of stepped on his ankle or on his leg somewhere. And it wasn't pretty from the sounds of it. I never actually went back to see the injury itself. I'm not sure if they even showed it. But it did seem like
I was watching the game. They didn't show a replay of it.
Yeah. I walked into some of the ladies that were doing the security on the interior part of the building, and they said it was pretty ugly. It didn't sound like it was dirty. It might even been his own player. I'm not really sure. But yeah, it didn't look good for him. So it would not surprise me to not see him back. So I would lean then at that point on Kilcrease. And again, he's gotten it done throughout the season. So it's not like a detriment that he's going to come in. It's not like you got a guy who's thrown 10 passes, this year who's going to come in.
Right. I mean, kid's got 1,400 passing yards, 9 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. So, I mean, I'm looking at my other screen reading his stats now. He's led the team pretty well in the games that he has played. Like you said, he was able to keep them afloat well enough so that they could be in a position to play in the Sun Belt Conference Championship. So he's no slow leap. He's got a cannon for him. You and I have both seen him play. And I think he played in 6 games to have 1,400 passing yards or almost 1,500 passing yards in 6 games. I mean, you tell me. He's playing pretty well.
Right.
So
yeah. I mean, I think statistically passing yards, he actually had more than Goose, right, at this point?
Right. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. 1,421 passing yards, 9 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
Yeah. So he's pretty good with the ball in his hands. I mean, I don't think there's anybody in Troy who's going to be worried about that aspect. But we'll see. I mean, this is one of those ones where you probably have to say the underdog's going to come in very excited for a shot, So they're going to be chomping at the bit, I think, at this one. But before we move on, let's get your take, and I'll try and see if I can update the graphic. Troy is favored by 1.5 points currently.
I found that
And
interesting, even without a starting quarterback. I found it interesting.
right, yeah. So 1.5 points and the total over under at 49.5. Is there anything you feel comfortable taking at that point right there?
So we've said a lot, right? Or at least I have, regarding how this game could go. We know Jacksonville State wants to run the ball. Hell, their quarterback is a runner. Essentially, he's a running back that can throw the football.
Yes.
They can control the clock pretty well if that is in fact the case and what they do. I will say this: I don't think Jacksonville State is better than JMU, and what Troy did to JMU leads me to believe that Troy might have the upper hand here. So I'm taking Troy minus the 1.5.
Got it. I'm with you on that one. So I'm going to move me up there at the same. I'm not touching the total over under. I
No,
would
because I don't know how that would go. I don't know how that would go.
In a bowl game, man, I've seen all kinds of stuff I never thought I'd see happen, right? Like you think you got this close battle and someone blows somebody out and shuts them out in a bowl game. Like, what? Perfect example. What was it? App State versus Toledo a couple years ago in bowl game. I was like, oh man, this is a conference champ versus conference champ. I think at that time it's going to be a great game. And then App State beat them like 41-0 or something. They shut them out. I remember that part. It was a lot to a little.
It was a lot to a little.
I was like, that okay. I didn't see that happening. I mean, I loved it, right? And it was great.
Well, remember, I think it was it last year or 2 years ago? You and I were talking. I was at work and we were watching Western Kentucky play against ODU. I forget who. ODU. Yeah, and it looked like a blowout. And I left work and came home, and it's a tie ball game. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? You know? So
I think it was 21 or 28 point advantage for the Monarchs at one point. And we're like, oh man, they look great. This is awesome. And then it switched.
Yeah, quickly.
Well, that's a great transition, even if you didn't mean to do it, TJ, because our next matchup is the Cure Bowl in Orlando.
We'll go with need to do it.
There you go. Exactly. We wrote it right into the script, just like this. So ODU is traveling down there to Orlando. Again, that's one of the best destination bowls we've got in the Sun Belt. People like to attend that one, unless it was a couple years ago when App State was in an absolute monsoon of a bowl game down there.
Yeah.
But they are going down there to take on a team. Really, it's going to be playing a home game, essentially. USF, the University of South Florida, which the Monarchs correctly pointed out is not really in South Florida at all. It's in kind of the middle of Florida.
In Orlando. I was very much confused. I took my son, not to take away from what we're doing here, but I took my son last year for his birthday down to Legoland in Florida. And I was like, why is South Florida in Orlando? Did I miss something? What's going on? It is, in fact, not South Florida.
Yeah. Well, I think UCF is in Orlando and USF is in Tampa, technically. But I mean, it's not far away. I mean,
there were signs. Yeah.
Yes, there were signs. Yeah. They're definitely a little confused on the geography part. So that was a great point by the Monarchists that it's really not South Florida at all. I mean, you think FIU, FAU, Miami, that's South Florida, but not Tampa. But getting back to what we're talking about here, the Camping World Stadium, and it's kind of an ugly thing. Did you pass that by chance when you were down there in Orlando, TJ?
No, I did not. So we actually went a different route. So when I say went through Orlando, we didn't actually go through Orlando. It was like, I think, just west of Orlando, I want to say.
Okay.
And so we did not get a chance to go really past that, because I was looking forward to kind of maybe to seeing the Citrus Bowl too. Didn't get a chance to see that either. But yeah, so no, we didn't get a chance to check the stadium out.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's not ugly like as a stadium goes, like from the actual building of it. I don't think too much, but it just kind of pops out of nowhere, and it's really not close to a whole bunch of nice stuff. It's in a weird spot. Like when we were coming up on it, I didn't even realize that was the spot for the bowl game. Honestly, it was very, very strange. But the most important fact for this bowl game that we didn't have at all in the last one, sans maybe one running back, both superstar athletes at the quarterback positions for both of these teams have said they will enter the transfer. I'm saying they will because I think technically it's still not open quite yet, right, TJ? I'm not mistaken there, right?
Yeah, I think the transfer portal opens on Tuesday of next week.
Okay.
I want to see. Let's look that up to be certain.
Well, while you're looking that up, that running back slash player that you can look at on both sides, Colton Joseph for ODU and Byron Brown for USF, unfortunately will not be. I mean, honestly, I would put this up as one of the best bowl games to watch as far as what could happen on the field if both of those guys were playing. I mean, I think you'd just see fireworks. There probably won't be a whole lot of defense. It's just going to be who can score the most points, and it would be one that I would advise everyone to watch. It could still turn out that way, but unfortunately, we're not going to have these superstars that played throughout the majority of their seasons and got these teams to these great records in this bowl game. Did you see it? It opens next Tuesday?
So it's not next Tuesday. It's actually January 2nd.
Okay.
When it opens. So we got a couple weeks.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, everything is just tentative that they will enter the transfer portal. I would assume most people will stick to their word, but we have seen some guys say that they've taken themselves out after putting themselves in. Maybe they see the grass isn't greener or whatnot. I mean, we can hope for that for Colton Joseph to stay within the conference, but let's be honest, his performance this year, you knew there was going to be some people calling, which technically shouldn't be taking place, but it happens in the background, right?
Of course. It happens everywhere, man. I mean, you'd be silly to not think that somebody, and it might not be a coach directly, but somebody,
right,
dedicated to the program is giving them a call and saying, hey, think it over. Think it over for us.
Yeah. And there's really no, you can say it's dirty tactics, but if you get a player to reach out for you, there's really nothing they can do if the player on a team says, hey, man, just wanted to know what your interest level would be. I mean,
right.
I don't know how you prove that it didn't, it came from the head coach. Anyway, getting back to the game at hand, and we will see, let me see, Quinn Hinkle, which, we had the Heineke kid from ODU before. The Monarchists are quick to point out their last names are similar. Don't compare them. Don't put anybody on a pedestal. Stop saying it. But Quinn Hinkle will be the quarterback. He threw exactly 6 passes. He completed 6 passes on 15 attempts for 57 yards. So no touchdowns, no interceptions. So it's really hard to say exactly what we'll see from him. But I will say he did carry the ball 20 times for 102 yards, which is a 5.1 yard per carry average, which, isn't going to put him on any amazing stat line, but it looks like he could be a little Colton Joseph, less sophisticated version, maybe we could say. But we'll see if, he can surprise in the passing game when he's given the ball for the entirety of a football game, right, TJ?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you never know what a guy can do until he can do it, right? I mean, case in point, and I hate to compare anybody to Armani Edwards, but we thought Trey Elder was going to be the guy because all signs pointed to the fact that he was. And had he been on any other team other than a team with Armani Edwards on it, he would have been the guy. But, we give Armani a shot after NC State, and then he takes off from there, and it's just like, hey, no looking back. So, again, I say all that to say you don't know what the number 2 guy can do until he becomes the number 1 guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Interestingly enough, not only are both starting quarterbacks going to be missing from this game, the number 1 rusher for each team was also those same quarterbacks that we just said are not going to be playing. So you actually have to go to the second listing for running back as far as who you need to be watching out for in this game. Traquan Jones on the side for ODU and Davenport over for USF, who's only got about half as many yards as the quarterback there. And kind of this, Jones is definitely closer to Joseph in that regard. 5 touchdowns on the year for Jones. Davenport did get to the end zone 7 times, however. So I don't know. I mean, I think this is still going to be a fairly even game. I think that the biggest question mark for me in this one is probably defensively, right? Like if we've got these offenses, they've got quarterbacks and running backs who can tote the rock and not have to worry about throwing it all that much. I mean, is this just going to be a shootout as we thought it was going to be initially anyway? Or do you think this was going to be, maybe one team kind of could surprise a little bit because they're, ODU probably has the defense favor them, to be totally honest with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree that ODU has the defense favor them, but to your point, going back to the offensive statuses, usually in most cases, when you have a backup, you want to recruit or have a backup that is very similar so the game plan doesn't change, right? So, and a case in point would be, remember, I don't know if you probably don't watch a ton of NFL, but remember when Lamar Jackson went down and then they had, what's his name? Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush came in and was the backup quarterback for the Ravens for a little while. Game plan completely changed. Cooper Rush cannot run. Everybody knows that, right? Well, lo and behold, they go and get the original backup, who is, what's his name? I want to say Tyler Huntley, as I believe was the original backup.
Yep.
And they're able to do the exact same things that they were doing with Lamar Jackson, obviously to a lesser degree. And it's, so I say all that to say, you want as much of the same version of that human that he's at the backup, so that when it is time to put in a game plan and put in the things that will work, there's not that much drop off. Also, there's no change in the game plan. So to that point, to your point, there could still be a lot of points being scored in this football game.
Yeah, one thing I didn't mention, and I don't want to discredit this aspect of the game, but it just made sense to talk about the quarterback and the rushing position because so much of both offenses were predicated on keeping it on the ground and having success. But you've got a combination of receiving core for ODU that's got Brown, Thomas, and Gladding, who've combined for, let's see, exactly 15 touchdowns through the air over there. And then you got Keshawn Singleton. Sorry, I almost tripped over that one. And Jeremiah Koger, who've combined for 15 as well, just between the two of them. That's not even including Ruben, who also has 5 himself. So, I don't want to discredit the wide receivers in this. TJ definitely doesn't want me to discredit the wideouts, the divas, as they're called. But no, but seriously, there's some very, very talented wide receivers. So if both quarterbacks start throwing it all over the place for whatever reason, there's guys who get it done there too. That's why I still think this is one that I specifically am very interested in. It's almost like it's exciting that it's at 5 because, you'll be able to start to finish, check it out. But it's also at that time where you get home from work, you got stuff you got to do. You're I'm going to keep it running so I can see and watch it, but I'm not going to be able to sit and take it all in. I'll have to watch it back later to see every last play of this thing. Because quite frankly, this one feels like it could be a 30 to 40 something shootout, or maybe even surpass that. And in fact, let's jump over to that now. USF, again, kind of almost a de facto home game, is a 3-point favorite. USF -3. The total over under is only 53.5. What are you thinking on that aspect of this one?
It's hard to say without Colton Joseph, right? Again, we talked about the backup quarterback. He really hadn't played any football, to this point, from what we've seen. He could get in there. He could be lights out, right? He could just be the guy. But he could also get in there and very much not be the guy, which is, why he's a backup. So it's hard to say. I would lean towards USF -3 only because of the location and based on the fact that we don't know much about this quarterback. So if you told me Goose Crowder was playing, first of all, if Goose Crowder was playing, this spread would be vastly different in the other direction, in my opinion.
Colton Joseph, right?
That's what I meant. Colton Joseph. I'm sorry.
That's all good. We got a lot of quarterbacks to talk about. So.
Vastly different in the other direction if that had been the case. I don't like it because I want ODU to win this football game. Of course, I want all of the Sun Belt Conference to win. But knowing what I know about South Florida, they're going to come with a ton of speed. They're going to come with guys who can really, really run, catch the ball. Again, both quarterbacks are out, so I don't know much about South Florida's backup quarterback either. And given that, in terms of how even it is. And usually when it's that kind of even, the spread goes to the home team, which in this case obviously favors USF.
Yeah, just to touch on that real quick, Gaston Moore, he's thrown exactly 20 attempts. So we have a quarterback through 15 attempts and 20 attempts. We know nothing.
We know nothing. We don't know anything about these guys.
So I mean that's the question mark. That's kind of the craziness of this whole thing. But yeah. And also to note, ODU is looking for their first bowl win. So it's not or Ricky Ronnie, I guess is I don't know in ODU's history if they have one. I believe they don't, because I thought Western Kentucky was going to be their first one. Mm-hmm. So that's a big aspect to this. I'm going to shy away from taking either team in that regard, and I'm going to do something I just said I probably wouldn't do, which is just take the over on the 53.5. I just think like this is the team where you don't see great defense.
That's actually smart.
Yeah. I think that's only, I see all these offensive numbers, and even with the best guys out, I'm like, yeah, but I mean, I have running backs that I feel like I could trust. I got wide receivers who I feel like could make plays all day. So if we're getting these guys the ball, the playmakers the ball, have fun defense. You guys sound like you're going to be chasing guys down all day long.
Yeah, both defenses for sure.
Yeah. Also, if this was a cold weather game, it was going to be cold down there, or it was going to be up here somewhere, like I would say, yeah, I'm going to say that it's going to go under, because, you're going to keep it on the ground. You're not going to have as much success through there. If it's 50 or above, these guys are going to be slinging the thing all over the place, I feel like. So we'll see if that actually happens, because, again, the unknowns are the quarterback positions, but it's not like they're going to go out there and not throw the ball. So I think we're still going to see some fireworks in this one. All right. We don't have a great transition for this next one, TJ, but, this is a team you have familiar with, so we could at least start there. The Delaware Blue Hens are making an appearance in a bowl game in their first year in FBS, something that a lot of Sunbelt teams were never lucky enough to do, but because not enough teams qualified, we'll have another team here this same week who's going to be in the same situation, but what do you think about that winged helmet? It's been good memories when you see those things, right?
Yeah, it makes me happy. I do love the fact that my boy Joe is still doing it, man. I mean, still doing it at 40 years old. Can you believe that? That's insane, bro. For that to be going on. But no, getting to the game. I mean, they've got a quarterback now in Minucci, who is, lighting it up. He's got almost 4,000. Well, yeah, like what am I seeing? 3,500 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. I mean, are you kidding me? I don't know that Louisiana's played against an offense like that all year. I got to tell you, I know you've got something to say, but that scares me a little bit.
Well, that's a good point that you brought up, and there is one that they said that they started to agree with you on Rage and Review. That they said, like, I don't know if we've seen something like this. Someone pretty quickly said Texas State. Again, now Texas State didn't have the success in the win-loss column, but offensively, that is the type of offense that Delaware, not to a T, right? But similar up-tempo, get the ball out quick. You've got a heck of a quarterback who could beat you with his legs as much as his arm. So it won't be a complete surprise. And to favor Louisiana in some regard, they get Tyree Skipper back. This isn't just some also-ran defensive back. This is one of the best defensive backs in the country. Who was on national preseason watch list for the defensive back position. So they the conference kind of rescinds his suspension, if you will, and they never really made it clear whether they would have done that regardless. But Rage and Review made a good point that, like, this is an all-star player that you're allowing to come back. Why? Well, probably you want your conference to win the game against another conference, right? So it's not a bad thing. First of all, it's probably, and I agree with them in this part, probably shouldn't have been suspended at all in the first place, or at least not as harshly as he was suspended. So I'm glad to see him get his chance to play another game here, especially one that's going to be so meaningful, as it'll be his last collegiate game ever. So this will be cool. Now, for those of you not watching but maybe listening, this is in Mobile, Alabama. So the thing that's going to favor to me Louisiana here is they're playing at South Alabama's stadium. This isn't a place they've not been to. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess, TJ, as a player, I don't know how often you played in a stadium that wasn't your home stadium, but you were familiar with. I guess Chattanooga could be one.
I was scared to say, are you kidding me? Chattanooga is Boone Part 2.
There you go. So, okay, tell us how much that could give Louisiana the advantage from, maybe not necessarily the playing angle, but at least familiarity and not feeling like it's alien to them at all.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you play at a stadium, especially in as close a proximity as Chattanooga was to Boone, as Mobile will be to Louisiana, it will essentially feel like a home game. I mean, every national champion, you were there, you saw it, all the black and gold that was in the stadium. I mean, it felt like we were home. It didn't matter whether it was Blue Hens. It didn't matter if we played against. I mean, I think the first from my freshman year, UMass, we played them, and then I think it was Northern Illinois or Southern Illinois. I can't remember. Northern Iowa, second game. All of these teams came from up north to come down here and play us, and it felt like we were home. So this is another classic case of, Delaware from the north coming down to the south to play in a bowl game in a stadium that Louisiana has frequented and really know intimately. So, correct me if I'm wrong, is Louisiana the home team?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay,
Let me double check that. Yes, I believe the first team listed is the home team. Yes.
Okay, so I mean I was going to say it might even favor Louisiana more if they were the away team because they're even more familiar with that away locker room. But either way, I think you're in a situation where it definitely gives you a psychological advantage. You've seen the stadium, like Delaware has Google. That's the only thing they know about the stadium. Is you know what I mean? Like that's the only thing they knew about when they played us in UT Chat. Like that's all they know. It's just Google Map it. Let's see what it looks like. What's around here? Where's the hotel? Like we knew where we were staying 4 weeks before the game because we had already been there. So it's just one of those things, man. But yes, to your point, it is psychologically an advantage when you know the stadium that you're playing in.
Yeah, makes sense. I like that aspect. Like I think automatically I'm favoring Louisiana for that. I'm also favoring Louisiana because we trust Lunch. I think he's going to have a pretty big game here in this one. I mean, that's just kind of how I feel about it. Whether it happens or not will obviously remain to be seen. But I also like the running game in general. You add Lunch Winfield to Xylon Perry and Bill Davis, who both have over 700 and 600 yards respectively, and they have 14 touchdowns between the two of them. That's not even including Lunch's 9 on the ground, which he also has 10 through the air. So again, you've got Mancini over here on the side for Delaware, but you've also got Lunch on the other side. But interestingly enough, as much as Mancini has been successful on the ground in the end zone because he has 10 rushing touchdowns, he's still not got that many yards overall. He's only got 231 total on the year, which is just a 2.2 average. Now, obviously, that's taken into account, sometimes when he's been sacked and whatnot. So it's not to say he can't break off some big runs, but his longest is 29 for the year. So he's doesn't seem, and even just by looking at him here, he doesn't look like the type of guy who's got necessarily like breakaway speed when he gets into the open field, but probably can be a little bit of a bruiser. He looks a little bit like a thicker quarterback there. I don't know if that's just the rib cage jacket, that he maybe wears or something, but definitely not afraid to get down and dirty near the end zone again with that 10 touchdowns on the ground, but he's got 22 through the air. So this isn't a guy who's one-dimensional whatsoever, TJ. I guess the thing, do you fear the up-tempo attack, or do you think that's something that if they don't do very well with, that could favor Louisiana, if they get them out of rhythm quickly and shut them down early?
So you're saying the tempo attack from Delaware?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that could be an added benefit, and for two reasons. Number one, Delaware is cold. It's going to be very, very warm in Alabama, which is going to favor the quarterback, favor the circumstances. We talked about obviously knowing, the home stadium. That's one aspect of it, but weather is a huge factor, right? Especially when you're going 4 and 5 wide, like they tend to do a lot. Delaware does. and they pretty much throw it all over the lot. And we talked about earlier, just to bring up his size. He's a pretty good sized kid, 6'2", 215 pounds. So he's not, he's pretty stocky for his size. But yeah, going back to the game plan aspect, when you've got, it's probably going to be in Mobile, I would say 55 to 65 degrees, somewhere in there. I mean, that's ripe for throwing the ball all over the field. So that could pose a threat. But again, like you said, they've got their best. Louisiana's got their best defensive back coming back, so that certainly helps aid in that respect for this bowl game specifically. But it could be a show out if the Blue Hens come and bring their offense with them.
Yeah, it could. I'm gonna start us off here on this one as far as the picks go. So Louisiana is only favored by 3. The total over-under is actually higher for this one than the previous game, which to me is kind of confusing, but the total over-under is 61.5. I feel like I'm going to see history repeat itself. When Delaware came down and played you guys in a national championship game, it was talk about how much they were going to beat you, how many points they were going to score, and then they came down and saw, the size and speed combination of the boys in the South here. And I fail to think that this iteration of Delaware is anywhere near the 2007 version that you saw on the field.
Probably not.
So I think they're going to get a little bit of a wake-up call. This is a team that's stepped up from the FCS. They've got their first taste of FBS this year. They came from Conference USA, which I don't think is anywhere near as strong as the Sun Belt. I think they're going to get a wake-up call. I think I'm gonna throw out this before I throw out the other prediction, but I'm going to say Lunch Winfield 4 total touchdowns, some combination of in the air and through the ground, but 4 total. And I'm going to say Tyree Skipper comes back and is very noticeable in this game. Probably a little pissed off about what happened to him with the suspension. I'm going to say he gets 2 interceptions.
2.
So yeah, I'm going to go with some kind of crazy combo there. Just kind of stuck out to me earlier today, and I said, you know what? I'm going all for it. So if there's some places out there that I can put that bet out there, maybe I'll think about doing that. But because of that, I'm also obviously favoring Louisiana to win this, and I think it's going to be easily won by more than 3. So I'm going to take Louisiana and the points with the 3. What are you thinking on this one, TJ?
So I'm kind of in the same boat as you as far as the South is just different, right? Like, even though we beat up on each other down here, when we go play other places, they really get a sort of a taste for what the South is made of. A 6-6, team in the South could very much be 11-1, 12-0 in a conference, like the MAC or some of these other northern conferences. Listen to me, I sound like Sunbelt is the SEC, but SEC Junior, yeah. But there's some validity behind it, right? Because the idea that a northern team just has the speed that we do, that it's not realistic. So now I'm not going to go as far on a limb as you did and say, 4 touchdowns by Lunch and 2 picks. I do think Lunch is going to be super impactful. I am going with Louisiana minus the 3 points because I do think location matters, and I do think the combination, like you said, of size and speed is just something that outside of Ohio State, the guys up north just don't play with.
Gotcha. Yeah, that was kind of another thought process of mine. Says we're on the same page there. And again, why? Because I think we've seen history in the past tell us that this has kind of shown itself before.
Yeah.
We're going to see if everyone else gets up to speed with us on this one. All right, so this is the last bowl game. Again, not covering the CFP game between Oregon and James Madison tonight. We're going to save that for Wednesday night and kind of talk all of CFP coverage in general, and then specifically about that game. So our last bowl game that we'll talk about tonight pits Missouri State. Looks like the only one where the Sun Belt team isn't the home team, against Arkansas State in the Xbox Bowl. This one down at Ford Center at the Star. TJ, I know you're a Cowboys fan. Have you ever been down there to that area and seen the the stadium and this, I guess, offshoot really is what this is down there?
I have not. It's on my bucket list. I have not gone down to see it. It's essentially like the junior version of AT&T Stadium.
Okay.
I've seen obviously the footprint of it. A lot of high school games are played in this building for sure. And I think it holds about 40,000 ish.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It does look pretty good size from this picture here.
Yeah. I think I could be wrong. I think it maybe 30s, maybe in the 30s is what it holds. Either way, it's a very nice stadium. Honestly, given where it is, both of these teams should be able to bring enough fans to fill it up.
Well, yeah, and I mean that's a heck of a place to have a bowl game destination wise, and like you said,
Absolutely.
that's probably I would venture to say this is one of the nicest bowls that you could be. You're inside, so weather's not going to be a factor,
Right.
and you're at one of America's team. I mean, this is their facility. I mean, this is top notch quality stuff here. If my team was playing there, I'd do what I could to get down there for sure. So yeah, I hope that you're right. I hope both of these. I mean, Missouri State, again, just like Delaware, first year in FBS football found themselves in a bowl game. I would assume they're going to bring a ton of fans to this thing because it's kind of early enough before Christmas. You could probably think about spending the money, right? And then still have some leftover or whatnot, or maybe loop it in as like a family gift to get all the way down there and take in this one. So that could be cool. But I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking from what we saw from the Red Wolves this year, there's no way yet again, just like the Delaware and Louisiana situation, we can't have an upstart team that's making their first bowl appearance get a win over one of our better teams through the season, can we?
No, I mean, listen, I'm a Jalen Raynor fan, which, by the way, has he made a decision?
I have not heard. So, no, I don't know. Unfortunately, Arkansas State, to my knowledge, doesn't have and I apologize if I'm incorrect here. Someone correct me. Maybe Ben can. I don't think Arkansas State has like a tried and true podcast out there that's been around for years. If there's like a new one that I'm not aware of, somebody let me know. But I tried to listen to everybody talk about these matchups coming up today so we could give you guys the best information possible. And I don't have one for the Red Wolves. So I know the Fun Belt podcast guys definitely cover Arkansas State, but I don't think as of yet they've previewed this game specifically. So I don't know the answer on that. The only thing I would point you to is Kara Ritchie on Twitter, who does a great job covering them. If she's got something that's come out, I would take it as the gospel because she's on top of things down there in Jonesboro. But yeah, I haven't heard anything definitive.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean that's for me. Obviously, that's going to be my X factor. I was just getting ready to correct myself. 12K seats with 5,000 standing room. So about 17,000 roughly is what the stadium will hold, which is, that's pretty good, especially for high school teams that come in there and play some football. And for a bowl game like this, Missouri, Southeast Missouri, it's Frisco ISD home field. Of course it is. Imagine how much money that high school has to have Dallas Cowboys practice facility as your home stadium. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, honestly, to me, like a 10 to 12,000 seat stadium for a bowl game is like the perfect size because if you get 5,000 to 7,000 fans, it feels very full, right? And let's be honest, a lot of these destination bowls are pretty far from where these schools reside. So you're not going to have 20,000 fans come down and, make their way down for a game. It's just not reasonable, right? I mean, this isn't the beginning of the season where you knew about it for a long period of time and, not near the holiday season when you're thinking about time and effort to do other things. So, yeah, I think these types of venues, like the soccer-specific venues, if you can fit a nice football field in there, do it because I think those are the size of destinations for bowl games. It feels better, right? I mean, I don't know what UT Chattanooga held, TJ, but when App filled it up, I mean, it wasn't the biggest venue, but that almost made it feel better, like cooler. Like, we're packed in here like sardines, and the atmosphere is better because of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you have when you can make a stadium sort of packed or feel like home, it is one of those things where it's psychologically, and two, with this stadium, it's a dome, so the noise is going to be noisy, right? Like it's going to be loud. It could be 8,000, 5,000 people in there. It'll still be loud because of the way the sound is going to bounce off those walls. So I think it's gonna be a fun atmosphere, man. It's something I'd love to go down and check out.
Yeah, same here for sure. Jacob Clark is the quarterback who's thrown for 2,895 yards. So this guy's not going to be afraid to sling it all over the place. 24 touchdowns through the air. Does have 11 interceptions. Okay, so we do note that they could take advantage of that defensively. And Shamari Lawrence is almost eclipsed the 1,000-yard mark. Probably will in this game if I had to put money on it. He's also reached pay dirt 7 times on the ground. Robinson, the wide receiver leading the attack over there for the Bears, is 536 yards, 6 touchdowns through the air. And TJ, I don't know if you've got Arkansas State kind of pulled up to kind of remind everybody what Jalen Rayner was doing this year through the air. And, we got a combination of running backs that kind of had some success, but, again, kind of as we alluded to earlier, Rayner getting to the end zone a little bit more in the red zone as well.
Yeah, I got Jalen Rayner at 3,073 yards, 16 touchdowns. Now, he does have 11 interceptions. So touchdown to interception ratio isn't where you want it to be. However, you've got Rucker as a receiver. I mean, he's got 69 receptions for, 866 yards. So, I mean, he's lethal on the outside as well. So you've got almost one player with almost 1,000 of a third essentially of your passing yards has gone to one guy. He's that means he's pretty darn good. So they've got to find a way to get him covered, which I don't think that they will. Obviously tipping my hand at who I'm picking for this game. I don't think they'll get him covered. I don't think Jalen Rayner, the ability to use his legs, I think is going to be a threat as well. And I think, overall, I think Missouri State is going to have their hands full.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I know this team's record-wise isn't going to scare anybody because they just qualified for that bowl game at that win over App State, the last second field goal miss by App State to really make it in there. But they've looked apart throughout the season, and then they've had their letdowns. So they can't not show up, right? Like, this isn't a team that they're just going to show up and beat type of situation. I don't think anybody would say that. But yeah, I don't know if it'll take their absolute best game to beat this team, but they're definitely going to be able to put some points on the board against this defense for Missouri State over here. I would actually say Corey Rucker is going to do whatever he can to stand out in this one, right? He came back. He had put his name into the NFL draft, probably got some type of news that said, I'd rather see if I can up that by coming back for one more year in college, right? So that's what he ended up doing. He's only got 3 touchdowns on the season, though, which is the most surprising part. He's got the yardage, but he doesn't have the touchdowns. One thing
I'm going to point out. You know what that tells you?
That?
A lot of they're throwing him a lot of bombs, and what's happening? He's getting down inside the 10 and the 5, and what are they doing? They're running the
ball with Raider. Yep.
As a receiver, you hate that.
Oh yeah, you do, and it's true. I mean, I've seen that kind of stuff. Like you said, he's getting into the 10, 15, 20-yard range, and then they change the offensive look, which I don't know. You got a guy like Corey Rucker, throw a jump ball in the back of the end zone. I think that's going to be pretty successful too.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you. But, you go with the sure thing if you got a running back who essentially can't miss.
Right. And I will say this. If they do key on Rucker, look for Hunter Summers to have a breakout game. He's only got about half as many yards as Rucker, okay? So he's not necessarily lighting up that way, but his per yard per catch average isn't far behind. He actually has more touchdowns on the season than Rucker. By just 1, he's only got 4, so it's not like he's got 7 or something like that. But I do think what I've seen him do when I've watched him specifically, I really like Summers' game. He could be the next big wide receiver for Arkansas State after Rucker leaves. He's not as big as Rucker. Don't make that mistake. That Rucker is a giant as far as a wide receiver is concerned. But that's one that I would say could have a sneaky good game here for the Red Wolves in this bowl game. Is there any last news or notes you want to cover on this one before we look at what our thoughts are on the spread and everything else in this one?
No, like I said, I mean, you know how I feel about Jalen Rayner. I've brought his name up probably, I don't even know, maybe 15 or 20 times in this podcast this season. I think he's a tremendous athlete, really. And I think that if he can get going at all, Missouri State, I'm telling you, man, watch out, because this guy he's hard to tackle. Number one, he's got weapons. Number two, and he can and when they get into, I think I've said this to you before on a couple of occasions as well, when they get into that hurry up, no huddle offense that they run, that 2-minute offense that they do, he's virtually unstoppable. He's done it 3 times in live games that I've seen. All 3 times he scored touchdowns. All 3.
Yeah, he's definitely, I mean, we hate to maybe hark on this because I say it a lot too, like you said, saying his name throughout the season, but you don't win a Manning Passing Academy award for nothing, right? And he's done that. So he's got the skills, the natural ability. Obviously there's certain things that happen about game plan and how the other side plays against you, but I'm favoring a playmaker here in this one. So let's get to that. Arkansas State favored by only 1.5 points. Total over under 54.5. What are you doing here with the Red Wolves and the Bears?
So how you felt about Louisiana against Delaware, that's how I feel about Arkansas State against Missouri State. I honestly think Jalen Rayner goes off for 2 to 3 touchdowns. However he's responsible for them, I think he'll probably run one in, throw 2. I think Corey Rucker's going to have a touchdown. And I think they're going to run a touchdown in with running back as well. And I think they win this game by at least 10 at minimum.
Nice. I like it. All right. Well, we'll show my pick over here too. I'm favoring just like you are. We've seen Arkansas State get in a bunch of close games. We've seen them win in some bigger fashions, but they've shown me that in the close games, for whatever reason, they come through in the clutch. And for that, even if it ends up being a 3-point game, I think the Red Wolves end up on top on this one. So I feel pretty comfortable taking them with the 1.5. Look, no surprise. We're favoring the Sunbelt teams in this one. For the most part, you did take USF against ODU, which I think is a fair. And I'm
not confident in that. I'm really not confident in that, because neither team has their starting quarterback, and neither team has their starting. So there's a lot to be decided in that. Don't quote me, is what I'm saying on the ODU. Because if ODU wins by 30, listen, not my fault. We don't know what team we're going to get.
Right, that's true. I mean, there are a lot of question marks, so it's only fair that we talk through it like we did tonight. So that's good. G. Wills, our resident ODU fan, says late to hop on, but come on, TJ.
I know, man. Listen, G. Wills changed my mind. Tell me something about this young quarterback, this backup quarterback that I don't know, because I don't know him. He's thrown the ball 15 times.
Right.
I have no idea who he is.
G. Will says he'll be boots on the ground. That's awesome, man. So first of all, enjoy Orlando, because the rest of us will be freezing our butts off up here in the it's not really the north, but it's going to be north compared to Orlando. So
that's for sure.
I want to be in Orlando. One year, it's not going to be until my son's older, but one year I'd like to go to like as many Sunbelt bowl games as I could. Just drive from one to the other and just kind of, just do this roundabout thing. I think that would be really a lot of fun. I'd also not have to have a job for that to happen, probably. I don't know what they do. Like, you're going to take the whole month of December off? You're damn right I am. Oh man, maybe I'll have a remote job where I could do that. But it would be enjoyable. It's not going to happen anytime soon. I'd be lucky to make one this year with how everything's spread out with, and TJ, is aware of this and gone through it too. Like as a coach of a youth sport, you can't just do what you want anymore. You're kind of tethered to those things and those kids, and for good reason. But yeah, it definitely takes its toll on you trying to go get to some live football games. So A couple just quick questions as we wrap up here, but do want to hit on some of these because I thought they were kind of interesting. And I wanted to know what mine and TJ's answers were to some of these. I don't really think we have to say who's most likely to win. We really just kind of went through that. But if you had to kind of maybe rank these bowls, TJ, and I'll put this back up. That way we're looking at all of them at the same time. And this will with the betting information, but just in general, you don't even have to give me all four, but give me the one that maybe stands out to you the most that like, I'm definitely not missing that one. If I only had to watch one of these four, which one would it be?
I think probably Troy, Jacksonville State. And I think because of the history between the two teams. Now, do I think all of these games are going to be pretty good? Except for the last two, like you said, I'm starting to lean a little bit more your way when it comes to Louisiana and maybe a blowout. I've already picked Arkansas State to win at least by 10. I'm iffy about the ODU, South Florida, aka Tampa, Florida football game. But I think Troy and Jacksonville State is the most intriguing. There is no, location advantage, right? These teams know each other or have had some history with each other, and both of these teams do the opposite thing well, right? So who's going to get the ball last? Who's going to control the clock? These are all questions that we have. So I think best game, maybe not, but certainly most intriguing.
Nice. I like that. I'm very close to that, but before we knew the quarterbacks were out, and even after looking at what we talked about tonight, like as we talked through it, I think like the one I just absolutely don't want to miss is the ODU USF game, because I just feel like even casual viewers who just turn into bowl games, because look, everyone else just kind of watching this because it's what's on. Like, I think this is one that people are going to be talking about because of how much of explosive offense we could see. Again, it's not guaranteed. We know we've been surprised before. We could be surprised again. But yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to go away from Troy Jack State with, again, listening to the Troll Boys podcast earlier this morning, but I just see some fireworks in that Monarchs versus Bulls matchup. And I want to get back to G. Wills, because you said, hey, G. Wills, sell me on your backup quarterback.
Okay.
So here it is. He's thrown 15 times, yes, but we will maximize him on the ground. That's not a big of a surprise there, right? We might not run the triple option like Navy, but look how efficient we have been on the ground. Believe it or not, Quinn is a faster runner than Colton. That's hard to believe. Such an athlete. They put him back there to punt return against JMU, though he muffed it. Not very athlete of him. that was a bad turnover there. But to sum it up, their whole O-line is starting. Colton is the only player out. Quinn will be able to run behind this O-line with our three-headed monster at running back. And he says, honestly, I'd take the under. Okay. Interesting.
Okay.
I hit the over. G. Wills doesn't like either of our picks now.
Well, listen, he might have just changed my mind, because if we've got everybody starting except the quarterback who seemingly is a better athlete, maybe we don't need to throw the ball all over the lot. Maybe we line it up and we let the boys play and just let them run it. I mean, we know the size of ODU's offensive line, I think, is second in the conference, right behind Texas State, who's no longer going to be in the conference. They got some big old boys to run behind over there in Virginia. So, listen, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, I'll give you a
tell you what I will do. I'll be watching.
There you go. There you go. If you really need to want to change it, if he's really told you, we can let you change it after the show before we publish it on the socials tomorrow. But he wants to say, look at what Navy did to them on the ground.
I was literally just thinking it. Literally just thinking that.
Yep. Plus the running game, as we know, is key to the pass game. He might only need to throw it 12 times. This is also a good point, right? Like, we've seen Joseph has those type of games for ODU this year. Oh, he only threw it, 15 times, 10 times, whatever it was. Right. Because he didn't need to. He was having 200-plus yard game on the ground, right? So,
look at Jacksonville State. We just talked about them, their ability. Your quarterback. I mean, he throws the ball, I think, on average, 18 times a game. 14 times a game on average throughout this year is what Jacksonville State's quarterback is throwing the ball. So, and they've been successful. So successful that they're, second in their conference. in terms of getting this bowl game. So I don't know. I might be sold. G. Wills.
Okay. Well, I'll give you the shot, but I have 2 questions left for us to answer.
Sure.
Which win out of these 4 only, not all of the bowl games, out of these 4 games only, which win would help the Sun Belt brand as a whole the most?
ODU, no question. I don't even think it's close.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think it's close. ODU. I mean, Southern, was it Central Florida, South Florida, that conference. What is that, American? Are they an American? Yep. Yeah, I mean, that American conference, what they get so much, it's embarrassing how much they get loved on by national media and the attention that they get. And now they've got some good teams, right? Because ECU's in there. They've got Memphis in there as well. Again, Central Florida, South Florida. So they've got some teams, right? Like, I'm not going to pretend.
Central Florida actually is in the Big 12 now.
Okay, Central Florida's in the Big 12. Okay, so but they've got some teams, right? So I'm not going to pretend. Tulane
is college football playoff. Yep.
Yeah, so they don't suck. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like they're an awful conference. But the amount of love that they get, and it's unequivocal love too. Like, they don't really favor anybody else. Like, Sunbelt outside of JMU and App State, nobody else really gets talked about, right? I mean, and recently App State hasn't been talked about as much, and that's to our own doing. We're not good, but outside of JMU, that's really our only bright spot. Memphis is talked about ad nauseum. Tulane's talked about ad nauseum. ECU, they always have nationally televised games. Florida, South Florida seemingly always has nationally televised games. So it's just like, in my mind, there's no question that ODU needs to go in and honestly, I want them to dominate. Like, I don't want it to be close.
Right.
I want it to be a game where they leave no doubt.
Yeah. And unfortunately, even if that happens, what we're going to hear is, well, USF didn't have their best quarterback, which is great because people that won't be paying attention will be like, yeah, same thing for ODU, buddy. Like, it's going to be like, you can't you have no gotcha on us on this one, because we're, our side's on the exact same boat. All right. So last question here. Part of this is an easy answer. What would it mean to go 4-0, 3-1, 2-2? Let's just hope we don't have to go to a 1-3 aspect in this, but what would it mean for the conference to go 4-0? I think, that'd just be perfect. There's not much to say there, right, TJ? I mean, that would be great. That's what we want. Realistically, I think we're looking at probably a 3-1, maybe outside shot at 2-2 overall. I mean, what do you think is probably the most likely outcome? And is that what you think is going to happen, I guess?
Listen, I don't see any reason why we can't go 4-0, especially based off what G. Wills just told me. I mean, I've picked us in every single game except ODU and South Florida. Now, if G. Wills is telling me what my ears are hearing, which is that ODU's backup quarterback is a better on-the-ground runner than Colton Joseph, then who am I to argue with somebody who knows the team? So I see no reason why we couldn't go 4-0. Again, at minimum 3-1. And what it would mean for the conference, for us, it's validation that we are who we thought we were. And we are who we have been for the past several years, right? Before JMU started doing what they were doing, it was App State. Before it was App State, it was Troy for a couple of years. We're good enough to be talked about on that level that it should not be always the American Conference getting all the love. I hate it. Again, I have no, disrespect or no vitriol towards the teams that are in the American Conference, because Memphis is always a good football team. ECU traditionally has some good years. They had some down years, but I think just 2 years ago, they beat the snot out of NC State at NC State. Held them, I think it was under 14 points or something like that. And so they play some good football. South Florida is a really good football team. But it's time we start getting our due as well. And the only way we can do that is to win. Win.
Yes, absolutely, man. G. Will's great point. For the love of God, sweep the children of the poor in Conference USA. I'll say this. I would say, a little bit of embarrassment I hope that's not too strong of a word, but a little bit of embarrassment if Delaware and Missouri State win over the Cajuns and the Red Wolves, respectively,
100%.
right? Like
100%.
those are the ones, to me, 100% have to win. Obviously, you'd really like to win the Troy game over Jack State, obviously, if you're a Troy fan, but even as a conference mate, because, again, you're proving the superiority of the conference in that regard. You'd have a clean sweep of Conference USA at that point to kind of help drive that one home. I think people expect nationally USF to win the game over ODU. But again, as G. Wills has said, and how we are hopefully leaning, that the Monarchs could surprise some people that haven't been paying full attention. 4-0 would be a great start, but it'd be far from over in the bowl season, as we know. Luckily, we have enough teams where we're going to be covering a great bit more of these games in the next week or two. But I mean, I think even realistically, if we go 3-1, I think that's totally acceptable because it's hard to win all these games. The other year we had 12 teams in the bowls. TJ, I think you and I were sitting there thinking we'd have like 7, 8 wins.
I was going to say maybe 8 or 6, yeah.
And we ended up going, I think, 6-6 overall. It's like, oh man, like we had 12 shots. How did we go 500, man? We had 12 teams in bowls. We're supposed to prove how good we are as a conference, and we only went 6-6. So it's weird, right? The extended period of time off. You got guys leaving the team. You got coaches leaving teams, right. Which luckily is not the case for any of these schools on our side anyway. You did have USF lose their coach. So, does that favor ODU as well? We didn't even actually bring that up, but their coach is gone. Interesting. And then Joseph says, it's been Troy for half the time we've been here. Win 8 and then come talk. Until then, keep your toesies warm. Yes, definitely be sure to keep your toesies warm.
App State did our job when we got there. That's all I know.
Except for the one time when they went head-to-head against Troy in that one championship game. That was – it was good at half. Half of a game was great, and then it got out of hand after that. And they ran away with it. But, man, this one was fun. Again, don't go anywhere. We're going to turn right around on Wednesday and have the CFP aspect of this weekend's action for you over on Sam Talk Sports. And we'll also, again, have that on at least 2 of our platforms. I think I usually choose Twitter and YouTube for that. So look out for those 2 platforms. We'll obviously try and share it around as well. Any last news, thoughts, things you want to share before we get out of here, TJ?
It's the most wonderful time of the year, man. Football every day almost. It's going to be ad nauseum for my wife. She'll get over it, hopefully. But listen, it's that time of the year where, stocking stuffers come with TV programming. So tune in, watch these games, get you some spiked eggnog if that's what you like, and sit back and relax, man, and keep your toesies warm.
Keep your toesies warm. I love it. We're gonna end on that one. See you guys on Wednesday night.